Hey guys, MKDH here, and welcome back to Secret of Evermore Odds and Ends. This time we are going to cover alchemy spells, but before we start, I'm going to unpack some things because it's been quite a while since I got this going. First is the elephant in the room, the California fires. Yeah, they were even worse than I feared. Thankfully I haven't been hit, and my parents' house is untouched. But considering early in August and a fire happened not 2 blocks away from it, good God am I getting sick of nothing having to fix the issue. The good news is that the current big fires are getting contained. So at least the biggest worry is the residual smoke. The bad news is that it's still not October, the month where the Kincaid and Paradise fires had happened. Things could still get worse way too easily. And by the way, I have heard about Hurricane Laura, and look, if you can expect me to do something, I'd be past the dates where I could have my parents' house fixed, where I could talk about the likes of the Lane Grace incident more actively. Just stop trying to force me to sympathize with popular figures who will gladly play blame games. That doesn't work at all. On a brighter note, I ordered a new USB mouse and USB keyboard on August 13 and received both about a week later, I believe. And the USB mouse is to replace my old one, which had the right click become so touchy about if it worked. As for the USB keyboard, my laptop's keyboard has certain keys become unresponsive, by all indications from overheat damage, because this laptop is getting old. I've had it since a few months before my mom's death. Of course, the USB keyboard does have 2 reasons I have it put away. First is that the keyboard is lighting up, so I have to use a delicate touch when handling it, because I can't keep pressed to something firm. And also, certain keys will prevent diagonal directions from being registered properly, so that's a problem when say, handling emulation-based gaming. On the bright side with the USB keyboard, the lightweight does make it solid for typing or for games like Bloons Tower Defense 6, for when I want to do things like prove Etienne and playability not to warn the benefit of the accommodating it being technical. But you didn't come here to hear me talk about real-life issues or my relatively shiny new toys. Nah, you want to know how the alchemy spells in this game work so that you can better cheat bosses like cheat bosses, you cheeky little shortcut takers. So, anyway, we're starting off with the Prehistoria spells. We have Flash, Harpal, Acid Rain, Defend, Cure, Heal, Speed, and Levitate. And I'm going to showcase how they each work, and yeah, I have the attack spells as well as defend and heal both all leveled up, with Acid Rain and defend to level 3 as you see, and Flash, Harpal, and heal to level 2, and that does affect the attack power. For reference, the spell multiplier is 2, then the spell's level multipliers are 2, then 4, then 7, then 11, then 15, then 20, then 26, then 32, then 39, and finally 46 at level 9. So, heal as an Harpal will have 7x multipliers and or actually 3.5x with single targeting, because the multiplier gets divided by 2 for 1 target, 3 for 2 targets, 4 for 3 targets. Yeah, you get the idea. But anyway, first up is Flash, taught by Fire Ice. This is a 27 might attack, and I'm using skeleton nails because they have 0 magic defense, so we won't have to worry about that getting in the way. Yeah, Flash is a 27 might attack that was multiplied by 3.5, I believe. No, it was multiplied by 3.5. Anyway, Flash requires 2 oil and 1 wax. What was it? Wax is slightly common, but it does have competition with Speed, Crush, Revealer, and Escape. The big clincher is that it requires 2 oil, but only oil competition is Cure, so... It's worth noting that oil was not on the wiki, it did not be sold in Antiqua, but Blimp actually sells it. So overall, Flash is a solid spell. A solid first spell topped by Fire Ice. Hardball is topped by the Bugmuck Alchemist. It's a 21 might attack, and I'm going to use it on this mosquito. Mosquitoes have 0 magic defense again. And yeah. Yeah, Hardball requires 1 crystal and 1 clay. There's no real competition for crystals until the last link of the game, when you would get stop and energize. The problem is clay. It's the clay requirement. For starters, it competes with Defend. But more importantly, clay is the only peddler of clay outside Prehistoria is the regrowth alchemist in Ebon Keep, and that's a problem when what was it? When the only peddler for crystals in Gothica is Lance, and he's locked off when you first reach the regrowth alchemist, and you won't be able to access him then until after you beat Sterling. So yeah, Hardball ends up falling off. Seriously. Oh yeah, and clay isn't even available for purchase until the Acid Rain Alchemist, who's not available until you beat Trax already. Yeah, Trax. So you can only grind Flash for Trax. But... So next up is Acid Rain. 17 might attack, but don't underestimate this. I had this at level 3, so the multiplier will be 5.5. Yeah, like so. Acid Rain uses ash and water, 3 parts water. Both ingredients are common. Its only real shortcoming is that it requires 3 water, so it's capped at 33 charges. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Hardball is capped at 99 charges, but effectively, from when you beat Magmar to when you are able to when you beat Sterling, you are effectively capped at fully capped at 198 charges, excluding any crystals or clay you find out on the field. Yeah, but anyway, Acid Rain uses water. It's capped at 33 charges, but it is good for long stuns, so it has a niche use against Verminator. Next up is Defend. Let's look at them. My defense rating is 509 right now. Defend will boost defense by about 15 might. I have it at level 2, I believe. No, level 3, so that would be a 5.5 multiplier. I got 61 points of defense. That's a little iffy. I mean, I know the game has an absurdly high level cap, but that still throws things off. Anyway, yeah, Defend provides quite a bit of physical defense for 60 seconds. It requires 1 clay and 1 ash. Ash is common, of course. Clay is unfortunately not sold is again not sold in Antiqua again, or in Gothica until the regrowth alchemist in Ebon Keep. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem, but I suppose it makes sense to keep people from relying on defense boost, even if it's just for 1 stat. Granted, that 1 stat is used for mooks. It's always used for mooks because mooks never use alchemy anyway. Next is Cure. And yes, he can multi-target. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention it. Defense effect. Defense has its boost reduced by multi-targeting, but if it saves you ingredients. Anyway, cure. Of course, cure status. It requires 2 roots and 1 oil. It gets no level up benefit. Oil competition is flash, of course. Roots competition is healing spells, and 2 are required. And roots is even a rare ingredient for water, of course. Rare ingredient for heal. Sorry. It's never cost effective compared to essence, even with the minimal prices for the ingredient purchases. So, yeah. But you can always use it because it's not locked to 6 charges, just 49. It's still plenty. Next is, of course, heal. This thing is a staple spell. It's a 32 might healing spell, and it sets the bar for competition with roots and water. I caught the definition of what happens with healing in the 90s RPG, particularly when the heal spell multipliers show bias toward cost-effective spells. So yeah, there's a reason I effectively banned it in my supplemental challenge. So yeah, goes without saying. Next is speed. Oh, right, I should show my stats first. 55, 51. 55 evade, 51 hit. Wait, 55 evade? That's insane, game. Speed provides... Speed is a 25 might increase in hit and evade, lasting 45 seconds. Or rather, not quite 45 seconds, because there's a bug with speed's duration. It's shortened by a frame count equal to the dog's physical defense, so the frame count got shortened by 510 frames, or I believe 8.5 seconds. 261. I was thinking with the toaster dog defense boost, yeah. But anyway, 78, 74. I got 23 points in each. This thing's broken, though. Speed competition is firm with the wax and oil, but both ingredient types are common enough, and the evade boost. Yeah, even at level 0, you saw I got 23 points of evade. I mean, I got a little lucky, but even so, level 3 is enough for 99 evade on a single target. And level 4 is enough on multi-target at any level. So, yes, the thing's broken. Like, what? What were they thinking with this spell? Oh, and what was it? Yeah, speed does boost hit as well. So at least it does cut down on arbitrary misses, but I'd rather deal with arbitrary misses than abuse that game breaker, you know me. I mean, granted it uses 2 water, but water's common enough again. And I'll have to go to the northern jungle real quick to showcase levitate, because levitate only works on excuse me, buddy. Excuse me. Yeah, 261. That would be 4-second cut. That. Alright, I should equip. Nexus, dang it, me! Oh, and proof of concept that Carniflowers flowers deal pure damage. And I end up showing that because I'm an idiot. So, levitate. This is basically a plot spell. Zim, zim, salabim. Yeah, Johnny Cut reference. Anyway, Levitate just moves rocks. Just moves certain rocks. It's just a plot spell. There's no level up benefit to it either. It's the only spell to use mud peppers, and it thankfully uses only one water, so you can just use it and get it out of the way. So allow me to jump cut it to showcase the Antiqua spells next. I'll be right back. So it's time to go into the Gothica spells, and the first thing I'm going to go into is, of course, the reflex spell, because you might have noticed that I didn't get the dog KO'd, because you can certainly do that by having him inflicted by plague by a nearby mat monk. From a nearby mat monk, and plague is indefinite poison, so yeah, you'd have to cure it, or else it would keep draining your HP, and yeah, that's what happened to Private Hazard here, so let's revive him. There we go. As you can see, revive restores a KO dog from KO. It restores him with 50 HPs at base. It would be an additional 50 HPs per level, so... If you're wondering what Revive requires, it requires 3 roots and 1 bone. It's the only formula to require 3 of a non-water ingredient, although the ingredient is still roots, which is not that uncommon, to say the least. There's no spells competing with bones though before getting the Wind Waker. Of course, only Blimp sells bones in the first place, so you might have a little difficulty restocking in Gothica. But then again, it's only 1 bone required, so yeah. Revive would make for a decent replacement for dog biscuits, though, providing you can spare the funds for bones. So here in the desert, and oh right, I went to the oasis. I didn't go to the oasis before because I think it does cause force healing, which forced revival, which don't quote me on it. I'm pretty sure Inns would cause forced revival. I'm not sure about the oases. Anyway. Excuse me, Sandfighter, you have 48 magic. Oh. Cute tumbleweeds. Pop up on screen and then force me into the... Oh, there we go. Yeah, tumbleweeds have 0 magic defense. So we can test spells like Crush on them. Crush is a 62 might attack, and yeah, 62 might. Wait, what? Oh right. I'd have Crush at level 1, so, or level 0, so its damage would be anywhere from 31 to 61 at base. Against a 0 magic defense anyway. But anyway, Crush speaks for itself in general because, okay, it requires wax. It requires limestone. Wax has competition with speed. Limestone, while Crush has no competition for it, because the only other spell that requires limestone, or bone for that matter, is barrier. Only Blimp sells limestone, and Blimp's only available in Antiqua, of course. But otherwise, yeah, 62 might. It's commonly used for a reason. It's such a jump in attack power from Blast. Yeah, Blast. And you can have 99 charges as well. I mean, granted, can't that 99 charges for the whole of Gothica, but still. Oh, and hi, Tumbleweed again. And next is Sting, which is arguably just as broken. not quite as nuts as Rust, but it has more might. It has 75 might to be exact. I have it at level 5 because of the demonstration purposes against Terminator, because Terminator was a right nuisance. But anyway, Sting requires 2 water and 1 vinegar. Water is common, though. The real problem is vinegar. Vinegar competes with Escape, Miracle Cure, and Double Drain. Of course, the more important issue is that Madronius is the only seller of vinegar before the Windwalker availability. I was about to say Windwaker. But yeah, again, it's effectively got the 99 charges from when you fight Aegis to when you beat Mongol of the Pig Face. But still, Sting is so powerful. It could carry you to enough Gothica, particularly Barminator. I sort of not defending that fight. What's the word for it? Sort of god. So, and yeah, Sting is just broke. I mean, it has vinegar has less availability, but it's not like Aegis or who was it? Not like Aegis or Vigor or hard bosses. Next up is Atlas. 25 might boost with half. Dang it me, I forgot. Why did you forget to showcase the attack boost? 42, 80, plus 5. 89 plus 114, so looks like I got an 18 might boost. The crazy thing about Atlas is that it lasts 90 seconds for an attack boost. Yeah, you see why Atlas amulets are so limited and how much you can really carry? I mean, Atlas amulets are only sold by the rogue, provided Atlas, and he won't appear if you have 3 Atlas amulets or more already. And you can find only 2 Atlas amulets. I left those 2 alone in Gothica alone. But yeah, I'm left wondering why Kinger doesn't sell Atlas amulets. I mean, preferably at an exorbitant price, but still. But yeah, Atlas would speak for itself if it speaks for itself. I mean, it would. If an attack boost in a subtraction defense game speaks for itself. That's why it requires Atlas amulets, of course. And there's actually a balance act that makes use of the Atlas amulet cost that rebalance barrier, but I would prefer barrier be nerfed into the ground in the first. Nerfed into the ground and its effectiveness in the first place. Because, yeesh. Oh yeah, fireball. Gotta find another tumbleweed. Arbitrary this game. Oh, there we go. Next is Fireball, which is a 62 might attack. 61, I got lucky. Yeah, I have all of these spells at level 0, except Sting at level 5, of course. Yeah. Fireball requires Brimstone and Ash. It requires 2 Ash, so it has a charge count of capacity of 49. Ash is of course common, at least, but Brimstone has hit or miss purchase availability, with only Madronius, Lance, and Tinker providing it at significant prices and all that, so you might have trouble restocking at hotspots like Terminator. So next is drain, providing Tumbleweed doesn't get too annoying about getting away. Yeah, drain is a 25 HP steel attack. 2 are required. Ethanol has consistent purchase availability and moderate prices. It's not obtained without getting through the Great Pyramid, though, so you only have it for the House of Colossia before moving on past the 2 dungeons. And after you beat Aegis, you get double drain. I had it at level 0. I had it at level 0 actually. Weird. But anyway, yeah, double drain is a 50 HP steel attack. It requires 2 ethanol, 2 vinegar. You must beat Aegis before obtaining double drain, because the Drain Alchemist will not give it to you before then. So restocking on double drain before getting the Wind Waker, yeah, that might be a little complicated. And by a little, I mean that Dronius is no longer available to provide vinegar. So, yeah. I left it unbanned for the Terminator fight because of that issue. It's double regular drain doesn't have that issue. It's weaker, it requires 2 roots. Still. Better safe than sorry about this stuff. So, I had to shift things to showcase escape revealer, so I'll be right back. Oh, wait, that was rough. Funny. So we're back at the front of the House of Colossia, so that we can see the escape spell in action. Oh, and do yourself some favor and look at this song on YouTube. I gotta talk about escape, which requires 1 wax and 1 vinegar. And yeah, escape is basically the exit spell. It's more cost effective than wings, but it still requires a spell slot. Here's what escape does. Yeah. Thankfully we don't have to worry about an iris out in a nose spit. But as you see, escape teleports us out of a dungeon and right to a designated destination. For example, if we were in any interior room in the Great Pyramid other than a cave with the teleporter to the bottom floor, or in Solace Arena, of course, we'd get warped out into the base of the pyramid with the dog gate. But anyway, Escape has the problem that it's only taught by Madronius after you've beaten one of the Diamond Knight dungeons. It is useful for sequence breaking in House of Colossia, but otherwise, yeah, that vinegar requirement limits usage count. I mean, it still has more usage count. It still has more uses and charge count than, say, wing, so it's more cost effective then. But you're limited in its charge count for the entirety of Gothica. The entirety of the Gothica arc. And I've also tested I've also tested escape in Omnitopia. It only works in 2 rooms: the heater room and the greenhouse. The heater room you get dropped off at the what was it? At the A3 hatch. So wait. Oh wait, no, it was the B3 hatch. So you could actually use it to skip a Rimsala, in case you care to a minimum experience run. But I'm not sure who would really. I mean, tracks exist. Speed running with you. speedrunning techniques will be required for low level running. I digress. Oh, in the greenhouse, you just get warped out to the. Oh, it wasn't the B2 hatch. It was the C3 hatch for the heater room. My mistake. Yeah, the greenhouse. The greenhouse exit escape spell usage would warp you out to the B2 hatch, the entrance of the greenhouse, of course. So I should just showcase this stuff in an alternate video, but going to the revealer, it's not an absolute necessity, but it does reveal the invisible bridges. It's basically just a plot spell. Another plot spell, just like Levitate. And of course, it has no level of benefit. Neither did Escape, actually. Of course, being a plot spell, a revealer requires only Ash and Wax. 2 Ash if you care about the charge kit. Who's going to, really? I mean, how are you going to be short on either Wax or Ash? What the heck, Private Editor? Are you walking on air? Wow. What the heck, Secret of Evermore? Come on. So while Private Hatter walks on air, I'll jump cut to the Gothica spells. Be right back. Sitting on there too. And snipping. And yawning. So getting into the Gothica spells, I'm going to start off with regrowth. I intentionally took a bunch of damage on nice and catch the yawn animation. Weird. Or should have a page image for Iron Whoopee. But anyway, I have regrowth at level 5. It requires 1 acorn and 2 water. Water is of course common. And acorns, I'll get into that. It's at level 5, so it should regenerate 2 HPs per second. So and regrowth has a 60-second duration, so here we go. Not that I'm at 245 HPs. But anyway, regrowth restores 1 HP per interval, which is 6 times the quantity of 10 minus regrowth level. It lasts 60 frames, or it's supposed to anyway, so I'm just recording this as proof of concept because I think the handling of the duration is a bit bugged, and kind of like what happens with the credits and with the credits timers. You're supposed to wait 30 minutes for your patient one message, but it's more like 29 minutes and 30 seconds because the game records in 59. Game at the sleeping happened in 59 ticks rather than 60 for the full second. But anyway, oh, there we go. And that was 116 HP. Yeah, it's supposed to be 120. Yeah, regrowth as it's handling be a bit messy. So yeah, 116 HP. It's supposed to be 120. But anyway, regrowth is only available once you reach Heaven Keep, so effectively its only availability is starting with Terminator. You won't have it for long, and yeah, 2 water requirement, and it also has competition for. It's a competition for Acornus, Lance, and Super Heal. Although Super Heal is only available after beating Terminator, or if you skip Terminator. Yeah, you can do that, but I wouldn't recommend it, of course. Yeah, still. You see the problem with regrowth in general? It just heals too slowly. Like, why? I think it could have been improved by a 122nd duration. At least then it would heal significantly more. Or make the healing faster. Like, what were they thinking? At least one that fully restores the void. Of course, it heals only the void, and it requires feathers, which are expensive. It requires roots too, but roots, yeah, healing spell stuff. Super heal fully heals both characters. It's forced multi-targeting, by the way. It requires 2 ethanols, meaning there's some actual scarcity compared to water for regrowth. It also requires acorns and 1 per cast. It's still very good, except when heal gets at a high enough level to reliably heal more than enough with multi-target. And again, super heal is only available past Terminator. 1 is available for the entirety of the Dark Forest, pretty much. So, time to go into attack spells and... Oh hey, Dragoil! Or not Dragoil, Gargant! Gargants have 0 magic defense, so we can use spells on them to showcase full damage. Like, Lance is a 50 might attack. It's only competition for... myself. Lance requires 1 iron and 1 acorn. It's only competition for acorns or super heal and regrowth. However, it later has serious competition on the iron, most notably with Energize. It's one of the 3 attack spells where both ingredients are sold between the 1-up and Regal's Alchemist, so you can actually grind it if Ivor Tower is closed up and you still have to worry about Terminator. And it's the strongest spell. The strongest of the spells where ingredients can be purchased when you're about to go up against Terminator. The other 2 being Flash and Drain, which are weaker. So. Oh, and the Regrowth Alchemist doesn't sell common ingredients for any available attacks else. That you'd have available for Terminator. Another problem with the Terminator fight. Jesus. I swear there's no defending that fight even if... Skip at the melee. The lack of melee hitting up to him. Next is Explosion. It's an 87 might attack. And thank you for being durable, Gargan. Explosion requires 2 ethanol and 1 ash, so it competes with super heal and drain spells right away, and caps at 49 charges without restock. Granted, drain is relatively weak. Double drain requires vinegar, and super heal gets no level up in a bit. Well, that's not entirely true. I mean, but I'll get to that. But what I'm definitely requires no level of benefit if you're wondering. But Explosion is also only available for Gomi's Tower and Mongola for pre-Windwalker. I'll get to that. Next is Lightning Storm. It's also an 87 might attack. One iron, 2 ash. So, requiring only 1 iron would actually be a bargain, even with a 2 ash requirement. And the fact that it's the common ingredient that requires the 2, that requires 2 of it, that's the case compared to Explosion. However, the availability kills it, because Lightning is only available after you've beaten Sterling. It's only available for Mongola, who isn't that hard. I mean, he's harder than Aegis, but Mongola still isn't that hard, and you could snipe him with any old attack spells in general, or spear attacks. Yeah, lightning storm is just gym fight availability. Not so much firepower though. It's a 112 might attack. Yeah, I got unlucky there because firepower has no worthwhile competition for Brimstone, but the feathers make it enough of an investment. However, only one up competes for feather usage, and enemies in the Dark Forest have a decent chance of dropping feathers if you're worried about funding. So, firepower is reasonable to grind. But I think Brimstone has touchy purchase availability again. Still, firepower is listed on vanilla TV tropes as a game breaker for a reason. Because 112 is as high as you're going to get, and at this point, money shouldn't be too much of an issue. So next up is corrosion. Nine to 21 pure damage, and it's a debuff lasting 75%, dealing half of the initial damage per tick, at a rate of 2 seconds for each tick. Corrosion hits all enemies on screen, but it requires free water. So yeah, you're limited to 33 charges of corrosion. There's no competition for mushrooms, but mushrooms are a bit of an investment. It could still be useful for the bad boys at the Shapelifter's Bridge at least, though. So... Hey. Oh, okay, so it's more random than I thought. But... Oh, and thanks, Lightning Bug. So, next I'm going to showcase Slow Burn. It wouldn't matter which enemy I use these spells on. I think Hachadilla has magic defense. I want to display that Slow Burn and Corrosion, for that matter, do not care about magic defense, because Hachadilla does have magic defense. Yeah, in case you don't get it, Slow Burn deals 8 pure damage initial, plus 4 for each level, and then it's a 26 second debuff with a 2 second. With every 2 seconds, each enemy takes an additional half of the initial damage. The ingredient costs are decent, although requiring iron, but the effectiveness just sucks, especially when you are getting it from Tinker's laboratory to begin with. Yeah, it's not well, before talking to Tinker. It can at least be useful against the Dark Toaster because of its ridiculous magic defense and evade. But as a word of warning, Coyotera's heart has her screech reaction happen to getting damaged directly. So you can get that she would just keep screeching against Corrosion and Slow Burn. It actually occurs to me because she has 32 magic defense. So so it would seem that Corrosion and Slow Burn could be appealing to use against her, but no. And yeah, that covers all of the Gothica spells. So be right back for the spells to get in the backtracking interim. Yeah, we're here at the Great Pyramid basement to cover the 2 interim spells. So, first and less important is, where is it? Miracle Cure. This is a 37 might heal, and it also cure status, which means you don't have to carry around the cure formula anymore. 37 might? Regular heal at 32 might, but Strongheart gives it to you after you get the Windwalker, so if it had 62 might like what Super Heal is actually given as its might value, it'd be worth considering, but it requires 2 roots per cast. At least Vinegar is readily available from Strongheart, though. But there's also a bug worth noting about Miracle Cure. Gunbound is not properly cured by Miracle Cure since the status does get removed, but the control reversal flag doesn't get cleared, so you'd have to do something else like use Essence or cast Cure to actually get rid of the Gunbound status. But why are you getting hit by Gunbound anyway at this point in the game? Maybe if you're getting very, very, very careless against Mad Monks, because Mad Monks are such a challenge at this point in the game. Bugs don't get caught unless you go through adversity, I suppose. Right, Barrier! Time to talk about this spell. Pay no attention to the wizard behind the curtain. This thing is a 25 might heal, but more importantly, it also causes buffs that last 45 seconds! And for those 45 seconds, you're invincible to everything. You don't even take flinching, as you see. Well, there are a few things that can still hurt you. The Coleopterus lightning discharge and screech attacks will still damage you. What was it? Oh yeah, the flowering death. The flowering death attack will still get through and want it to kill you. Otherwise, though, Barrier speaks for itself, and yes, you can multi-target it. I mean, it weakens the heal, but so what? You're invincible for 45 seconds. Like, that's ridiculous. And the ingredient requirements aren't a big deal either. Maybe for Crush, but Barrier requires 1 limestone and 2 bones. The 2 bone requirement barely reduces the charge count to 49. Charge count capacity to 49. But it makes it quite redundant under decent usage. And Crush is up to do my thing without too much issue because Sting doesn't require freaking limestone like Crush does. Also, it's worth noting that Barrier is actually a potential launch for everyone. Yes, I'm showcasing secret tasks I missed in the actual playthrough. Why did I miss this passage? And again, it doesn't provide too much of interest. Just some pixie dust and a couple of random items. Still, I was hitting an atlas. How do I forget about this passage? That's how obscure this passage was. But yeah, Barrier is just broken. I'll come back to you at Omnitopia for the spells learned throughout Omnitopia, naturally. And so with us at the boiler room, I can showcase the final set of spells in Omnitopia, because Neogreebles and red jelly balls are the only mooks in Omnitopia with 0 magic defense. Hi there, Neogreebles. And I can showcase Nitro, which is a 112 might attack. I mean, the good news is it has no competition for gunpowder. But that's where the positives end, unfortunately. Because gunpowder, or not gunpowder, Nitro has a 2 grease requirement, and its competition for grease is force field and reflect. But that's the least of Nitro's problems, because the grease seller is in Gothica, while gunpowder is sold at the service sector of Omnitopia. You see the problem? You have to travel from A2 to Gothica and back if you want to grind Nitro, and it's a... I mean, at this point you probably could have grinded firepower, which has the exact same might, except it just requires feathers. You could buy feathers in Untitled too, if you want to be cost effective. Just... this smells so bad. Oh, and in case you're wondering, you get Nitro from... was it Professor Rothenberg? Oh, it was from Tinker's lab, and it also makes explosion a potential lost forever. Still. Next up is Reflect, and yes, you can multi-target it without penalty. It provides a Reflect buff. Yeah, I should note that all of the spells, this is the only spell in Untitled that is not provided before you reach Professor Rosenberg's laboratory. But it may as well be provided at Professor Rosenberg's laboratory, because it has no real purpose for the general region. It's only good for the faces, as well as the Metal Magmar and Carltron's lair. Face is at least trivialized by Reflect, and because all Face does is cast Flash for attacks, and Heal, which is defense, so... yeah. Metal Magmar is made less annoying. It's not much less difficult. I carried Reflect around just to cut down on annoyance factor, because Reflect does have a 2 grease requirement, in case you're wondering, so it has a 49 charge count, but it shouldn't be a problem to have enough grease to carry over the Faces and the Magmar fight with 99 charges in both of those fights. Oh, and Iron is shared by Energize. Yep! Energize! Speaks for itself, and you don't even have to hold down the attack button for charge attacks. It's an 11th hour superpower requiring iron and crystal, one apiece at that. I should display a bug though with a bazooka. Forced 0%. What is this? Yeah, you wanna know how that happens? Yeah, charge level. Yeah, the boys set attack level is set to 0. The boys maximum attack level is set to 0 for the bazooka. Yeah, oops. Yeah, Energize speaks for itself. In case you're wondering, it's 60 points of charge up per frame, and you get 60 points of charge up per frame. You normally, or actually 70. The 60 is an addition. You normally get 10. Yeah, there's no multi-target penalty either, and no need to hold. Yeah, you see why Energize gets listed as a game breaker on vanilla TV tropes, but it's more of an 11th-hour superpower requiring iron and crystal. One of piece at that, so that you get 90. You'd be able to have 99 charges if you max out on iron and crystals. Oh, and just yeah, proof of concept of the plus 60 charge up per frame. Yeah, the dock's charge up when running is floored at 12%. Yeah, free frame bonus would showcase that. Yeah, this is the result of the run. Of the dogs running, not setting the running bit to apply that charge up having it only once, and then stop the running when the dog's out of energy. Energizes worn up. But yeah. Energize speaks for itself. So next up is force field. Oh, and that's perfectly showcases. Which one has to be upgraded? That one has silly balls. Force field absorbed the head. Yeah, force field nullifies damage from the next attack, as well as the flinching at that. But there's one problem with it. In case you're wondering, force field, what was it? In case you're wondering, force field would still get ended even if the dodge animation triggers from succeeding with the hit roll. So it could be rendered redundant by the block animations. Oh, and in case you're wondering, force field requires the same ingredients as reflect, except requiring only one grease instead of 2. Yeah, funny. So let's go over stop. It's an 8-second debuff, and during those 8 seconds, well, where is it? You can't target the enemy. You can't attack them either, but I mean, I suppose it's useful for charging up, but you have energized at this point. At the point you have stop. And then, in case you're wondering, stop requires 2 wax and 1 crystal, so the charge count caps at 49. At least the ingredients are common enough. Except crystals are still required by energize. But yeah, the real problem is the immobilization, also preventing the attacking of the target for the duration. Oh, and yes, you can multi-target. Stop. And yes, this includes targeting them with the attack command, so there is a bit that would allow for ignoring stop's immobilization, stop preventing the attack or but that bit is never set by any. I don't think the procedures that would set the bit is ever utilized. then I may as well use... Well, there is one part the casting animation. But... Other than that, though... Yeah, I'll call up does that one copy. Let me showcase it. I have 31. Call up copies plus 1. I have 32 now. Yeah, call up just adds 1 copy when you cast it, and it requires meteorites and dry ice, which are exceedingly rare. Okay, meteorites can be obtained in infinite quantity from the Mad Monk scam artist, but dry ice, yeah, you can't buy it. I actually looked in the game's data. There's no merchant who sells dry ice. And there were rumors of a dry ice peddler in Ruffleberg's laboratory, but they were never found. And it's kind of weird because dry ice, I know for a fact, is used in commercial use. I don't know how to make it, I can tell you that much, but let me read you the warning label about dry ice. Stop. Warning. This package contains dry ice. Wear gloves when handling. Dry ice, frozen carbon dioxide, is extremely cold at 190.3 degrees Fahrenheit or 78.15 degrees Celsius. Those numbers are, I mean, negative 109.3 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 78.5 degrees Celsius. I forgot to read the negative signs. And can cause burns to the skin by merely touching it. Because of this, you should wear gloves when handling it. Keep dry ice away from children. Do not leave dry ice on a tiled or solid surface countertop as it extremely cold to crack it. Disposal. Unwrap and leave at room temperature in a well-ventilated area. It will sublimate from a solid to gas. Extreme dry ice burns the same as heat burns. Yeah, dry ice is basically an extreme cold. It's an extreme temperature change. Yeah, I could tell you when I was handling dry ice because I got this card when I ordered breakfast sandwiches online because of the whole virus mess. I could tell you how I did wear gloves. I still opted to use a utensil just to be safe. And when I was touching the dry ice with the utensil, and I could feel the metal vibrate. So, yeah, interesting story of the day. But anyway, that's just. But anyway, yeah. Of course, the game dictates that dry ice is exceedingly rare, even though it's available for commercial use in modern times, unless some case of technology marches on occurred. But this is Omnitopia. We'd be seeing cases of technology marches on anyway. Wait, what? Just have to check. Yeah. So, that covers every spell in the game. And of course, there's also the call beat spells, so next time I'm going to cover that. So until then, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day. MKDH out. Yeah, that's a lot to take in, I know.